sort of, how does Montessori address, so we were just talking with a friend of ours and realized that a lot of these schools are very self-driven, self-motivated into their particular interests. And in the public school setting, you don't have the choices, and so therefore you get stuck studying this, and then sometimes you realize, well, you really like that. So you never would have known had you not had to do it. So how does Montessori kind of compare as far as the variety of topics that are introduced or available? Or
I would encourage you to go into the environment and take a look at what's available, because what Montessori said, the task of the Montessori teacher was to take everything in the world and bring it to the child. You need to make it, break it down into component parts and make it bite-sized, but you're supposed to bring it there. So if you go into a Montessori classroom for the 3 to 6-year-old, you're going to see just a plethora of materials that, they're animals from all the different countries in the world, and they're different kinds of plants, and they're, once you get to elementary, it's even richer. There's so much botany and zoology and physics and music and art, and I mean, we really try to have everything there. And everybody gets exposed to it. Remember, they do have their planner, and they sit down with their teacher, and yes, they are going to do. They maybe get to choose when they do it and how long it's going to take them to do it, depending on their particular skills, but they are going to do it. And you just get to go in deeper into the things that you're interested in. But we all need to know the operations. We all need to be able to write a decent letter. We all need to be able to read, and we need to be exposed to as many things as possible so we can see what things really turn us on.
That reminds me, how is art addressed, I guess, at the more elementary level? I know in the younger, it's like one of the modules you can play, work on in the 3 to 6-year-old, right?
And there's art in the environments, and really, in order to complete a project, there's an awful lot of art that needs to happen there too. And the kids, I was just in here observing this morning, and there were some, I think they were 6-year-olds, maybe one was 7, I'm not sure, but they had a big piece of paper out, and they were drawing all the different animals of Africa. And they had little pictures that they were using, but they were freehand drawing them. So it's totally incorporated. But they do also have art projects that they do, and they also have art as something that's available to them as well. Some schools have a specific art teacher that comes in addition, but art is just integral to self-expression. If nobody has any more questions, we can go home. Before my grandkids go to bed.
So that art of trying to, so that was great to hear, that wonderful thing the kids were doing with the stories. And so, do you have any tricks on the art of hearing from your kid what happened through the day? So I know you know the rhythm, and you're like, so tell me what was happening at circle, or tell me what was it. But all you really get was like, well, so-and-so was nice, and so-and-so were nice. Yeah. And I'm like, trying to find that way in, and any other tricks?
It's one of the hardest things in the world. With my kids, the only way I knew what was going on is put them in the bathtub. And you have to call, since they're in the bathtub, you have to watch, sort of, right? But you have to sort of be there like you're not really there, and they just start doing their own thing. And then things would start to come out. But especially my son, he was one of those, where did you go? Out. What did you do? Nothing kind of kids. And he was not interested in sharing with me at all. If I had relied on him for the information, I wouldn't have known anything about what he was doing.
Well, it's one of the spaces, the imaginative one, often will work for me, because then I'll say, I pretend that I'm a new kid coming to school, and I really could use your help, and just ask her to guide me through the day. But I thought maybe there was some other little trick.
No, well, the thing is, your child is doing a worksheet. There's the lesson plan for the week.
It's called the work plan.
And so, I mean, what we do is we actually, we send home, they just have like a planner. I mean, this, I think you have sheets that the kids use. But, you know, they're different devices, but we send that home. And then use the parent signs it, and then it comes back. And the idea of that is primarily is just so that they have something that they have to remember to take home and remember to bring back, because that's an important lesson, right? But it also does, it gives the parent a chance to kind of have a peek at what's going on. Because there are kids who don't share. And then there are kids who just talk and talk and talk and talk. And then I have the parents say, you know, do you have any trick for how to get them to stop talking? So, I mean, they all are their own individual people.
Can you talk a little bit about holidays and how it seems like they're not really observed and they're somewhat learned about, but I don't know. I know it's just a different way of looking at holidays.
Okay, well, there are different schools of thought.
Okay.
Within the Montessori environment. I think one of the most important things, I mean, we know that culture, rites, rituals, these are all really important. These are important for human beings. It's part of what we need to do to satisfy our spiritual needs. On the other hand, if you're especially if you're in a public school environment and you're in a very diverse environment, you have to be somewhat careful about how you go about this. I have a private school, so people don't like what I do. They don't come there. So that gives me a lot more freedom. What we do is we acknowledge as many different important times in the lives of the children that are part of our population. So we do acknowledge Lunar New Year. We used to do Chinese New Year, only my Vietnamese parents made it really clear that it's not Chinese New Year. So that's one of the things.
How ironic.
Careful about, right? So here we were being inclusive, right? We got to screwed up. But I mean, we acknowledge Diwali, which is an Indian celebration. We try to acknowledge as many different things as we can, so that the children have as rich an exposure as possible without adhering to anyone in particular. Again, that's also part of the education for peace. Is if the more you know about diverse people when you're little, the more they're going to be interesting and fun. And oh, gee, I remember when we did that in school, instead of, ooh, that's strange, that's weird. I don't think I want to have anything to do with them. So basically, that's what we would like to do. I mean, I really enjoyed you and your mom coming in and cooking with them.
That's not why I brought it up.
No, but I did. I thought that was
No.
wonderful. And I think that the more participation like that schools can have, the better. Because again, we only know what we know. Like I said, I celebrated Chinese New Year and, realized that I should have known more about it before I did it. So, but having somebody from a culture come in and present it, that makes it that much more special too, because you're bringing something that's special to you. We do a thing that we call immersion days, and again, these are things that are more for like 3 to 6. But as we go through the study of the different continents, at the end.